It was almost midnight, and the rain poured like the heavens were grieving. On a quiet street, only one house had its light still on, a small, worn-down cottage at the corner where a single father, Daniel, sat by the kitchen table, bill spread before him, his face buried in his hands. The house was silent except for the soft hum of the refrigerator and the occasional cough from the small bedroom where his 6-year-old son, Tommy, slept. Daniel worked 2 jobs, a mechanic by day, a delivery driver by night. Life had been unkind since his wife passed away 3 years ago. He had no family left, no savings, and no one to lean on but his little boy. But despite the struggle, Daniel never stopped believing that kindness still mattered even when the world seemed cold that night. Just as he was about to turn off the lights, a faint knock came at the door. He froze for a moment, wondering who would visit at such an hour. When the knock came again, he walked cautiously to the door and peeked outside. There, shivering under the downpour, stood a young girl, maybe 13, soaked to the bone, clutching a backpack. "Please," she said through trembling lips. "I'm lost. Can I come in?" Daniel hesitated. He didn't know her, and the world wasn't safe these days. But when he saw the fear in her eyes, the same fear he'd seen in Tommy's eyes when his mother died, his heart softened. He opened the door and motioned her in. "Come on, kid," he said gently. "You'll catch your death out there." He grabbed a towel, wrapped it around her shoulders, and led her to the small heater near the kitchen. She sat silently, warming her hands, staring at the floor. "What's your name?" Daniel asked, offering her a mug of hot cocoa. "Lily," she said quietly. I got separated from my dad. We were on our way home, but there was an accident on the highway. I started walking, and I just got lost." Daniel nodded, worry crossing his face. "Don't worry, Lily. You're safe here. We'll call the police in the morning, okay? It's too late and too stormy for them to search right now." She nodded and gave a small, tired smile. That night, Daniel made a bed for her on the couch, tucked her in, and checked on Tommy before going to bed himself. But he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the girl, alone, scared, and probably missed dearly by someone. The next morning, the storm had cleared, and sunlight peeked through the cracked window blinds. Lily helped Daniel make breakfast, just eggs and toast, but she smiled gratefully as if it were a feast. Tommy, shy at first, warmed up to her quickly. Soon the small house was filled with laughter, something Daniel hadn't heard in a long time. After breakfast, Daniel called the police to report Lily safe and sound. They told him they'd contact her father, who had already filed a missing person report. Lily seemed relieved, but there was a sadness in her eyes Daniel couldn't quite understand. By noon, a sleek black car pulled up outside the cottage. A tall man stepped out, wearing an expensive suit. His expression was frantic, but when he saw Lily, he ran forward, tears streaming down his face. "Lily! Oh, thank God," he cried, dropping to his knees and hugging her tightly. Daniel stood at the doorway, wiping his hands on his jeans. He didn't know who this man was, but one glance told him he was someone important. The kind of man who lived in a different world entirely. "I'm her father," the man said, turning to Daniel. "You have no idea how much this means to me." "I'm Robert Sinclair." Daniel nodded awkwardly. "She's a good kid. She was scared, that's all. I'm just glad she's safe now." Robert looked around the small, shabby living room, the cracked paint, the old furniture, the leaky ceiling. It was clear Daniel was struggling. But instead of pity, Robert saw something else, quiet dignity. "Sir," Robert said softly, "you didn't have to take her in. Most people wouldn't have opened their doors to a stranger." "Thank you." Daniel shrugged. She needed help. That's all that mattered. Robert smiled and handed Daniel a card. "If you ever need anything, please call me." Daniel nodded but never expected to use it. He wasn't the type to ask for favors. Days passed, and life went back to its slow rhythm. Daniel returned to fixing cars, delivering packages at night, and tucking Tommy into bed. But then one morning, something unexpected happened. His boss called him in and said the garage was closing down. Daniel felt his world collapse again. He tried to find another job, but no one was hiring. Rent was overdue, his truck broke down, and the electricity was about to be cut off that night. As he sat on the floor with his sleeping son beside him, he pulled out the card Robert Sinclair had given him. He hesitated, but then whispered, "What do I have to lose?" and dialed the number. The next day, Robert's assistant called back, saying Mr. Sinclair wanted to see him immediately. Daniel took a bus to the city, feeling out of place among the glass towers and luxury cars. When he entered Robert's office, he was greeted with warmth, not pride. "Daniel," Robert said, shaking his hand, "I was hoping I'd hear from you." Daniel felt embarrassed. "I didn't want to bother you, sir. But I lost my job, and I've got a kid to feed." Robert nodded. "Say no more. I have a proposal. I own several auto shops. I need someone trustworthy to manage one of them. After what you did for my daughter, I know you're that man." Daniel was speechless. "You'd do that for me?" "You gave my daughter safety when she had nothing," Robert replied. "Now let me return the kindness." Tears filled Daniel's eyes as he shook Robert's hand. That night, he went home and hugged Tommy tighter than ever. Months passed, and life slowly transformed. Daniel now managed a busy auto shop, earning enough to provide for his son comfortably. They moved into a small but warm home, and for the first time in years, Daniel didn't have to choose between paying rent or buying groceries. Lily often visited, and she and Tommy became like siblings. Robert, too, grew close to Daniel, not as a boss, but as a friend. He admired Daniel's honesty and humility, while Daniel admired Robert's generosity and grace. But just when things seemed perfect, another storm came, not of rain, but of fear. Tommy fell ill. What started as a fever turned serious fast. The doctor said he needed surgery, one Daniel couldn't afford. That he sat by Tommy's bedside, head in his hands once again, whispering, "Please, not him too." He didn't want to burden Robert again, but when Lily found out, she told her father immediately. Within hours, Robert was at the hospital, covering every medical bill. "Your family now, Daniel," he said softly. "And family helps family." The surgery went well. Tommy recovered, and when Daniel saw his boy smiling again, he broke down in tears, not from sadness, but gratitude. That he realized something powerful that day: kindness had a ripple effect. One small act of compassion on a rainy night had changed not only his life but the lives of everyone around him. Years later, Daniel's small act of kindness would become the story he told at every community event, every parent meeting, every moment someone said, "People aren't kind anymore." He would smile and say, "You'd be surprised how far kindness can go. I opened my door to a lost girl, and she brought light back into my world." Never underestimate the power of kindness. You never know whose life you're touching or how it might change yours in return. And that, my friends, is the story of Daniel, a poor single dad whose heart of gold led to miracles he never expected. Sometimes, the universe rewards kindness in ways we can't imagine. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to leave a comment below, tell us what you felt, or share your own story of kindness. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Be kind always. Because no matter how small, your kindness can change someone's world.